Silent guardians. The Galactic Concord had ruled unopposed for 7 centuries. 12 species, each commanding vast resources and technologies, maintained order across 17,000 star systems. Peace was not so much negotiated as it was enforced. Smaller species paid tribute, provided resources, and survived at the pleasure of the Concord. The system worked because the alternatives were worse. In the observation chamber of the Jex Herodin flagship Inevitable Dominance, Admiral Kevex stared at the holographic projection with disbelief. The massive warship before him shouldn't exist, couldn't exist. Yet the sensor readings were unmistakable. 37 thermal signatures, reported his second-in-command. Power outputs exceeding Concord military standards. Hull composition unknown, but density readings suggest material hardness beyond our metrics. Kavex's inner membranes pulsed with anxiety. And you're certain of its origin? Yes, Admiral. The vessel is undeniably of human design. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Humans. The primitive bipeds from that isolated blue planet at the edge of the Orion Arm. The Concord had catalogued Earth centuries ago. A technological backwater populated by violent, fractious creatures barely capable of reaching their own moon. The Concord's assessment had been unanimous. Observe, but ignore. Let the humans destroy themselves or, in a few millennia, perhaps evolve into something worth acknowledging. That's impossible, Kevex insisted. The last survey was less than 50 standard cycles ago. They were still burning fossil fuels, fighting over resources. They couldn't possibly have. Sir, interrupted his tactical officer, the human vessel is moving. The massive ship on the display rotated slowly, revealing weapon emplacements that glowed with barely contained energy. No warning shots, no communication attempts, just a silent, deliberate display of force. Scramble the fleet, ordered Kevex, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. Alert the High Command. Send word to all Concord vessels in the sector. In the vast chamber of the Galactic Concord's High Council, species representatives gathered in emergency session. Ambassador Threll of the Zorathi Imperium, the oldest and most powerful of the Concord members, addressed the assembly. The reports are verified. Threll's voice reverberated. Humans have somehow managed to bypass centuries of technological development. They now possess warships capable of challenging our combined fleets. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Vazaran delegate, a crystalline entity, pulsed with confusion. How is this possible? Their civilization was primitive, disorganized. That, replied Thrall grimly, appears to have been a carefully crafted illusion. On the central display, intelligence reports scrolled past. Observations of Earth showing a pre-spacefaring civilization, intercepted communications discussing trivial matters, primitive rocket technology, all now revealed as an elaborate deception. They wanted us to underestimate them, concluded Ambassador Ekinar of the Petrasian Commonwealth. The question is why? And why reveal themselves now? Before anyone could answer, a new alert flashed across all screens. 3 more human vessels had been detected at different corners of Concord space, each massive, each silent, each carrying weaponry that defied Concord understanding. They're establishing a perimeter, analyzed the Concord's military advisor. Classic containment strategy. Containment? Questioned Threll. They are containing us. Yes, came the simple reply. And they've positioned themselves at key hyperspace junctions. Our fleets cannot mobilize effectively without passing their blockade points. In the observation room of the Tactical Restraint, Earth's primary interstellar vessel, Fleet Admiral Helena Chen watched the Concord's reaction with calculating eyes. Behind her stood the representatives of humanity's unified government, the outcome of a secret coalition formed when the first alien probe was detected passing through the solar system 2 centuries earlier. They've spotted all 4 Vanguard ships, reported her XO. Concord communications show widespread panic. Their High Council is in emergency session. Chen nodded. And the secondary fleet? Still dark, Admiral. 30 vessels holding position in the shadow of the Kuiper debris field, as planned. The Concorde remains unaware. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had learned patience in the long years of preparation. When that first alien probe had been captured and its technology reverse-engineered, Earth's nations had made an unprecedented decision: present a united front to the stars. While maintaining the appearance of division and primitive technology, humanity had secretly pooled resources, built hidden facilities in asteroid belts and on moons, and developed technologies that leapfrogged conventional development paths. "Admiral," reported the communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the Jex Heredin flagship. They're requesting parley." "Accepted," Chen replied. Main screen. The alien face that appeared was reptilian, with a ridge of bony plates extending from its forehead to the back of its skull. Multiple eyes blinked in uneven patterns. "I am Admiral Kavex of the Galactic Concorde," the alien announced, its translator providing a flat, emotionless English. "You have entered restricted space with military vessels. Explain your presence and intentions." Chen straightened, her uniform bearing the simple insignia of humanity, Earth encircled by a protective ring. "I am Fleet Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We're well aware of whose space this is. Admiral, we've been monitoring your Concorde for generations." Kavex's eyes widened. "Impossible. Your species was primitive, divided. That's what we wanted you to believe." Chen's voice carried no animosity, just stated fact. "Every probe you sent, every survey ship, every stealth observer, we detected them all. We learned your languages, studied your technologies, and prepared." "Prepared for what?" demanded Kavex. "For this conversation," replied Chen. "For the day when humanity would take its place among the stars on our terms, not yours." In the Concorde High Council, the representatives watched the exchange with growing apprehension. The humans had not only advanced beyond all predictions, but had done so while maintaining a perfect facade of technological immaturity. "They've been watching us all along," whispered the Vazaran delegate, its crystalline structure dimming with dismay. "Not just watching," corrected Ambassador Threll. "Learning, adapting. And now they have us surrounded." As the first day of this new reality closed, the Concorde remained uncertain of humanity's true intentions. The human warships maintained their positions, neither advancing nor retreating. They made no demands, issued no ultimatums. They simply watched, silent guardians at the gates of a galactic order about to change forever. The reckoning. 3 standard days passed with the human vessels maintaining their positions. Across the Concorde, panic gave way to grim acceptance. Some species began evacuating border systems, while others reinforced their defenses. The Concorde's unified military command, never before challenged, scrambled to develop countermeasures against technologies they barely understood. In the war room of the Zorathi flagship Retribution, military leaders from the 7 most powerful Concorde species gathered to plan their response. The humans maintain only 4 visible vessels, noted General Vex Corps of the Petrasian battle fleet. Despite their size and technological advantage, we outnumber them thousands to 1. Numbers mean nothing against superior technology, countered Fleet Commander Zhu Laren of the Jex Heredin. "One of their ships could devastate an entire battle group before we penetrated their defenses. Then we use overwhelming force," insisted Vex Corps. "Strike all 4 vessels simultaneously with everything we have. Accept the losses. Remove the threat." The Zorathi Supreme Commander, a massive figure with metallic scales that caught the light, leaned forward. "And if there are more human ships we haven't detected, if this is merely their vanguard, we would spend our strength and achieve nothing." "There is another option," suggested Zhu Laren quietly. "The humans still have one vulnerability: their homeworld." A somber silence fell over the war room. The implication was clear. If the humans could not be defeated in direct combat, perhaps they could be coerced through threat to their species' cradle. "Deploy the planet killer to the Sol system," ordered the Zorathi commander. but maintain strict communication silence. If the humans detect our intentions too soon, all is lost. Aboard the tactical restraint, Admiral Chen received the intelligence with calm acceptance. So they've chosen the hard path, she observed to her senior staff. How many vessels moving toward Sol? Single Zorathi dreadnought, reported her intelligence officer. Stealth configuration, but our quantum entanglement detectors tracked it the moment it left Zorathi space. Chen nodded. The Concorde still didn't understand how thoroughly humanity had studied them. Each major species' propulsion signatures, weapon systems, and stealth technologies had been cataloged and countered in simulation after simulation. Time to arrival. Approximately 72 hours at their current speed. Plenty of time, Chen replied. Activate the Sol defense grid and signal the secondary fleet to prepare for Phase 2. Throughout human space, a volume far larger than the Concorde suspected, automated defense systems awakened. Beneath the surfaces of Mars, Europa, Titan, and dozens of other bodies, massive cannons emerged from hidden bunkers. Swarms of autonomous combat drones detached from asteroid bases, and in the vast darkness between stars, humanity's secondary fleet. 30 vessels equal in size to the 4 Vanguard ships, powered up their engines and began to move. On Earth itself, civilians went about their daily lives, unaware of the approaching threat. The planet's surface maintained its carefully crafted appearance of a pre-spacefaring civilization. Cities, highways, primitive aircraft, all an elaborate stage set designed to deceive distant observers. The real Earth, humanity's true industrial and technological heart, existed primarily underground and off-world. The Zorathi dreadnought emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system, its planet-killer weapon primed. The massive vessel, nearly 20 kilometers in length, moved cautiously toward the inner planets. No defenses detected, reported the Zorathi weapons officer. The system appears unprotected, as our intelligence suggested. The commander nodded with satisfaction. Prepare the planet killer. Target the third planet. Sir, interrupted the sensor officer, his voice suddenly strained. Energy readings, everywhere. The system is waking up. Across the Sol system, humanity's true defensive capability revealed itself. Mars glowed as massive weapon emplacements emerged from beneath the red soil. The moons of Jupiter and Saturn unveiled batteries of defense systems, and from behind the sun came 5 massive warships, each bearing the insignia of United Earth. The Zorathi commander stared at the tactical display in horror. Impossible, he whispered. Fire the planet killer. Now. The dreadnought's primary weapon began to charge, a process that would take precious minutes. It never got the chance to complete. From multiple vectors, concentrated energy beams struck the Zorathi vessel. Its shields, the most powerful in the Concorde, held for exactly 8.3 seconds before collapsing. The dreadnought shattered like glass, its reactor going critical in a final spectacular detonation. Throughout Concorde space, the human fleet made its move. The 4 Vanguard ships advanced while the secondary fleet emerged from hiding. Key military installations, command centers, and fleet bases found themselves suddenly facing human warships that appeared seemingly from nowhere. In the Concorde High Council, now in permanent emergency session, Ambassador Threll received the reports with growing dread. The Zorathi dreadnought has been destroyed, he announced to the stunned assembly. The humans have revealed a defense system throughout their home system that surpasses anything in our combined arsenals, and they now hold position over 37 of our most critical military installations. Are they attacking? Asked the Vazaran delegate. No, replied Threll. They're simply waiting. The answer came moments later as communication systems throughout Concorde space received a simultaneous transmission. Admiral Chen's face appeared on screens across thousands of worlds. People of the Galactic Concorde, she began, her voice calm and measured. Today marks a turning point in our shared history. For centuries, your coalition has dominated this region of space, imposing your will on less powerful species. You catalogued Earth as primitive, dismissed us as unworthy of concern, and continued your expansion. That was your first mistake. Images appeared showing Concord vessels conducting covert operations against smaller civilizations, extracting resources from inhabited worlds without consent, enforcing tributary relationships through military threat. Humanity remained hidden not out of fear, but out of choice, Chen continued. We watched, we learned, and we saw how you treated those you considered beneath you. We decided then that when we finally revealed ourselves, it would be from a position where you could never threaten us or any other developing species again. In the Concord Council, Ambassador Threll watched with the sinking realization that everything had changed. The humans hadn't just developed technology to match the Concord, they had surpassed it, and done so with a purpose beyond mere self-protection. We do not seek war, Admiral Chen assured her vast audience, but neither will we accept the current order. The Concord as you know it ends today. In its place, we propose a true alliance of equals, one where technological superiority does not grant the right to exploit or subjugate. The transmission concluded with a simple set of terms: the dismantling of the Concord's hierarchical structure, freedom for all tributary species, and the establishment of a new interstellar body where all members would have equal standing. In military installations across Concord space, commanders faced an impossible choice. The human vessels positioned above their bases made no aggressive moves, but their presence was an undeniable statement of power. Fighting was pointless. The humans had demonstrated both technological superiority and the strategic foresight to position their forces where they would be most effective. One by one, the Concord powers capitulated, not through direct conflict, but through the simple recognition that the balance of power had shifted irreversibly. 6 months later, representatives from over 200 species gathered on a massive space station at a neutral point between Earth and the former Concord core worlds. The Galactic Assembly, as it was now called, convened its first session. Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's diplomatic representative, addressed the historic gathering. For too long, the narrative of advanced civilizations has been one of conquest and domination. Earth chose a different path. We advanced in secret not to conquer, but to ensure that when we finally took our place among the stars, it would be as protectors rather than oppressors. The former Concord species, stripped of their dominance, but included as equals, watched with a mixture of resentment and reluctant respect. The smaller species, freed from tributary status, regarded the humans with something approaching reverence. Humanity's greatest strength, Chen concluded, was never our technology. It was our perspective. We looked at the stars and saw not territories to control, but a community waiting to be built. Today, we begin building that community together. As the assembly commenced its work, a new understanding spread throughout the galaxy. The humans had not merely arrived on the galactic stage, they had fundamentally transformed it. And they had done so not through overwhelming destruction, but through overwhelming foresight. The silent guardians of Earth had become the architects of a new galactic order, proving that humanity's most powerful weapon was never its warships, but its vision of what the stars could become.